Trini. This is legendary college quarterback Buck Belue and Buck's daughter Audrey. Say hi, Audrey.
Hey.
And we're doing a ride along in our 680 SEV, our sport electric vehicle. What was the initial feeling last year when the Dogs won it all? You were the last one to do it. You watched it. What was that initial feeling that went through you when you saw them win?
Well, we were happy, obviously. You know, this is my team, and this, you know, I immediately thought about the Georgia fan base that had been without winning a title for 40 years.
Right.
And so this is one of the great fan bases in college football, and I totally understood the amount of teasing that they had taken through the years from all these. Think about all the schools around Georgia that have won a national title since we won it in 1980. I mean, you got Alabama winning all these championships. The Gators won them under Spurrier and Urban Meyer. Tennessee won one. Auburn won one. LSU won a couple. So these fan bases were teasing Georgia about not winning one for 40 years. So that was one of my first thoughts was, hallelujah, the Bulldog Nation is free at last.
What was holding Georgia up, do you think?
Well, maybe they just didn't have, you know, that South Georgia quarterback. You know, I was from South Georgia. We won the national title.
There you go.
You know, Stetson's from South Georgia. We finally got around to winning another national title. They breed them differently down there by
Valdosta, don't they?
I think we're just a little bit tougher. You got to have a little luck. Georgia, you know, had a shot to win a couple of these national titles between the 2021 season and 1980, but just didn't get the necessary break. You know, Alabama in the overtime loss in 17 was an opportunity to win the national title. 2012, they had Alabama on the ropes in the SEC title game. If they would have finished that out, they would have beat up on Notre Dame and won the national title. So there were several years in that 40-year span where Georgia could have won it.
Yeah. Just
didn't get a break here or there when they needed one. So again, you got to have everything fall your way.
And they're in a pretty good position now, I think. I think it's Georgia's time. Alabama had its time. You know, all these other schools. I think it might be. You know, is that kind of your feeling?
Yeah, I think this is a great time to be a Georgia Bulldog fan right now.
Everybody hit some acceleration.
You know, in 1980 we won the Natty. Had a chance to go back-to-back the next year and fell a little bit short. Things didn't fall our way. And then in 1982, they had a great shot to win the national. Could have won 3 in a row.
Right.
And so that was the greatest 3-year period in Georgia football history. And I think we're right in the middle of another one.
Yeah.
Right now, Kirby Smart has done a great job with the coaching staff, recruiting top players, building a winning culture. Georgia could go back-to-back, do the repeat thing, run it back, as the kids are saying. Here in a few weeks, we might be celebrating another national title.
Knock on wood.
And they've got the talent and the coaching staff to keep this thing going. So this is a wonderful time to be a Georgia Bulldog fan.
We're gonna open it up here a little bit. All right, ready?
Wow, this has got some pickup.
It does.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's a video game.
It's a little unnerving too. You don't hear the engine revving up.
I know. When you back up, there is a little bit of a beep, like a truck, so people don't, you know, die. One of our listeners wants to know, what made you want to write a book?
Well, I've always loved writing. That was my thing in school. So yeah, it was an itch that I'd had for decades. I kept a scrapbook, which was a great resource material. We had the DVDs they provided of us of each game in 1980, so I went back and watched all the games again. Had everything I needed to do it. I just felt like the timing was right. But I had no idea that Georgia was going to win the national championship. You know, I had one former teammate called up and he said, "Are you crazy? You know, nobody's going to be interested in the book. They're all going to want to know more about this year's national title team." And I hung up the phone, and it wasn't 5 minutes later, I got a call from another teammate that was on the other end of the spectrum. He says, "Man, this is going to be awesome. You picked the perfect time to come out with a book. Every Bulldog Nation's going to be so excited."
I mean, how much of a blast from the past was it where you just sort of absorbed yourself and kind of went back in that time frame?
Well, a lot of it was already done. It was just rewriting.
Right.
You know, I think the motivation for me, though, was being able to talk about my hometown, Valdosta, Georgia, that is the winningest high school football program in the country. And I can't tell you how many times through the years I've had people ask, how was Valdosta so successful with their football program? And so I just knew there was an interest, there was a thirst there for information regarding that. So I knew I wanted to talk about growing up in Valdosta and being a part of that winning football program. You know, back in elementary school, and they asked you to stand up and tell everybody what you wanted to be when you grew up, they didn't have sports talk radio,
right.
You know, but you know, I thought if the playing career, once that ended, that was the dream, was to play Major League Baseball and you know, to play football and take that as far as it could take me. Growing up in Valdosta, I always wanted to live in Atlanta because I wanted to go see the Braves, the Hawks, the Falcons, be close to, you know, the Bulldogs and see, you know, the college football. We're sort of the, here in Atlanta, it's the Deep South's the capital of college football. So, you know, as far as the sports talk radio gig goes, it was just perfect for me. You know, had a lot of passion for the subject matter. It you know, it's never seemed like work. Well, maybe a couple days, but for the most part, it has really never seemed like, you know, a job. It's been a passion, so it's been perfect.
Thank you for the ride along, Buck.
Hey man,
I appreciate you, brother.